Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Crooked Illness. I'm really looking forward to this one, you guys. I'm getting into a lesson not taught in school today, based on the title of this episode, with my beautiful guest today, Ashley Parker. Ashley received her Master's of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling from Palm Beach Atlantic University. She's also the host of a Splash of Ash podcast, which is dedicated to sharing actionable lifestyle changes to nurture your mind, body, and soul in order to achieve a greater self-worth. I'm so excited to have Ashley here with us today to uncover the message behind the title of this episode. So without further ado, welcome Ashley to the podcast.
Heyo, what is up? Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I feel like you've been such a light in my world just through social media. I feel like I know you, so it's so fun that we can connect. And you were on my podcast earlier this week. That episode dropped, so y'all go check that out because this girl's amazing also. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited to jump into this.
Ashley, I love you. Yes, you guys. So I was on her podcast this Monday. So when this episode comes out, this will probably come out, I think, in June or something, but we're recording this right now in April. So the episode I did on her podcast, check it out, a Splash of Ash podcast, you guys. She is an incredible host and is incredible with what she does on her podcast. And I'm excited now to have her on here, feature her story and the awesome work that she is up to, you guys. So before we go ahead and dive on into this, just give us a little bit more background on you. Tell us more about who you are and what you enjoy doing.
Yes. So what's up, guys? My name is Ashley. That was a beautiful intro. So thank you. It always makes me feel special when I'm on other people's shows and they give me such an awesome intro. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, you gotta rock it, right? So I am the founder of Splash of Ash. I founded this kind of small business in the middle of the pandemic, really in 2020. I graduated with my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And when I was in my clinicals, I really found that counseling in its most traditional and psychological form wasn't for me, right? Wearing the therapist hat wasn't for me. I think therapy is so important and I think we should all be in therapy, but I think for me to wear the hat, it wasn't right for my spirit. So when I was getting ready to graduate in May, I was like, what's next for me? I'm either going to go on and get my license to be a counselor and a therapist and almost be miserable, or I could pivot into something new that like sparks my soul on complete fire. And I also was thinking about how I would be doing a disservice to the clients that I would be trying to help and trying to treat in the clinical setting if I wasn't happy, right? If I can't show up as my whole self and show up in my best form for my clients, is that really helpful for them? And the answer was no. So I actually started a YouTube channel. I have no videos on there, so do not ask and do not nope, it's gone. It's all wiped out. I literally had 3 videos on my YouTube channel and it was called A Splash of Ash. And the idea was we were in the middle of this pandemic and I wanted to be a light for other people, right? It was it still is going on. It's such a crazy time. We're all in this weird phase. What's next? What the hell's going on, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hop on camera and pick little fun topics related to mental health and wellness to help people just feel better, right? To help people out of this funk. So that was the idea behind A Splash of Ash originally. And I actually had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing with Splash of Ash? What are your dreams with this? What's your vision? And I was like, I really don't know. And so I actually used her, and my mom was a huge supporter in this. My whole family was, but my mom was really behind the scenes helping me and was like, you know what? Start a podcast, start a brand. Like, let's go in full force with something that makes you happy, where you can help other people still using your background with your masters, but also in a lighter way where you can just be a light for other people. So that's how Splash of Ash kind of came about. And that's what I have been doing full force.
I love that. Because I remember when we connected on Instagram. I remember, and I can't remember how exactly it happened. I think I could scroll back, but we connected on there. And I can tell you guys, I was looking at her page and I was just like, this person, I was like, I love what she's doing, you guys.
Thank you.
Like diving into mental health, wellness topics. And I also think that's so important that you come on here and you talk about, the career that you were pursuing, right? You got your master's in counseling and you were planning on doing that as a career, but then you realized, this if and I think that's so amazing that you say, noticing that you would be doing a disservice to the clients because you aren't truly enjoying the work that you're doing. You aren't truly, as excited, as invested, as happy as you thought you would be. And I think that's amazing because that awareness is major. And that is something that, I kind of I've talked about a little bit in some of the episodes. It's kind of like, struggling with, finding yourself, right? Or especially, and I've
Yes.
also dealt with that, myself too, because kind of similar to you, I actually went back to school as well, got my MBA in healthcare administration because I really wanted to understand how things work from within the system of healthcare and like hospitals and clinics because I was a patient and then I worked in one. So I'm like, I want to learn more. And that's
Yes.
what I really love about you is like you consistently pursue trying to grow and get better in these areas and then providing that on the platform that you have, on your Instagram, on the podcast. And you guys, you need to check her out. Like I've said this already, like a splash of ash. Go look her up and subscribe to her and check out her episodes because it's so necessary and so needed. And I still think it's amazing that you are still doing something similar to what you originally planned to with helping people, right? With therapy, with counseling, but you're doing it in a way that, like you said, lights you on fire and gets you excited, because who wants to wake up in the morning and have this dark cloud over them all the
Yes.
time and thinking, all right, I'm just going to do this thing because, this is like the plan and kind of, what I've always had going on. So I'm going to stay here, but you're not truly fulfilled. You're not truly excited about it. And that I feel like that makes it very difficult and challenging to help other people because you still have that good heart. You still want to do
Yes.
that, but it's hard on you because you aren't doing what you love and what you
Yes.
really, really want to do. So I think that's amazing that you made it happen. You didn't just have a dream of, oh my God, this would be so cool, to start a YouTube channel, start a podcast, start a blog, start a splash of ash. You actually created it and you did it and you're building it and you're growing it and you're continuing to do that. So I think that's amazing because that's the scariest step, that I can tell you because, with me, with doing my podcast, that was what scared the shit out of me is just
Yes.
starting it. Cause I'm like, we have all these ideas, right? And we have all of these things that we want to do and we have this vision and kind of, where we want to go, but then you gotta do it, take
Yes.
action, that's great. But I think that's the coolest thing that, I really found with you and the work that you're doing is you've done it. You've had the plan, you've had the vision and you're putting it into action. So, this brings me to the focus of this episode right here, you guys. So a lesson not taught in school. So I really want to get in, to the lessons not taught in school because you brought up so many incredible points in our last conversation. You guys, we spent like 2 hours on the phone because I always like to do calls with a lot of my guests. So we had a call and we were talking about all of these things. So I'd love, if you can get into what are these lessons and why do you feel we don't see many of them in school growing up?
Yeah. I think school serves its purpose, right? It's academia focused, literature, mathematics, it's a great place for us to even learn some social skills and friendships. But I don't think that we are necessarily taught some of the fundamentals for growth, right? And I think there's a few components to some of the things that are missing in school. And I think the first thing is self-awareness. We've already been talking about self-awareness in this episode already, but this was kind of first on my list. How to tap into our emotions, vulnerability, checking in with ourselves, right? Like, how do we just check in with ourselves? Sometimes I can remember, right? Like in high school, going to school and you're just in a pissy mood, right? You're just in a crap mood. You don't even know what to do with that. And I can also remember kind of having somebody in a bad mood or somebody being like running out of class and crying in the bathroom. And it's almost made fun of, right? To show those emotions in school. We have to be tough. We can't show that. And we don't know what to do with it. So I think that one of the key points that is missed in school is self-awareness, knowing what to do with the emotions we feel, knowing how to check in with ourselves. And I think the first step in actually tapping into self-awareness that should be taught, so I'm going to teach y'all right now, is make it a point every single day to spend time with yourself. And I know you're huge on this too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
right? Like, sit and meditate, journal, literally take 5 minutes out of your morning to just be with yourself. I actually had a guest on my podcast probably about a month and a half ago. And she said in the morning she wakes up and she'll literally be like, how am I feeling today? Right? That's it. It's so simple. It's so easy. It takes 5 minutes to just check in and become more self-aware. So I think that the first thing is self-awareness.
Wow. I think that's amazing, because just the way that you broke that down that hits home for me on so many levels, because I can remember, especially when you talked about, seeing people like running out of class and not doing well and crying. I literally had moments like that all of the time when I was in high school, because for me, I was dealing with so much unresolved trauma, right? I didn't know how to communicate my emotions, what had happened to me or taken place, because I felt like what you were saying, we have to be tough. We can't show this side because then we're going to seem, weak, or we're like, we want attention, or all these things. And I did not know what to do with it, and it was terrible. And I think that is so key and so important, because I never got those lessons. I was never taught, I didn't even know what self-awareness was, and back in high school, and even in college too. Like, even like coming out of college, I still, was starting to learn what this is. I was still starting to learn, what is self-compassion? How do you practice self-care? Like, why is that important? Because for me, I was always like, going, do this, don't share this, don't share too much about yourself, don't share these bad times, make it look like you're fine, because you don't want people to like be concerned, you don't want anyone to worry, you don't want that, and it was just this constant narrative that I pushed on myself of, you need to be okay all the time. And I think what you say is so important. If you guys don't already do this, just honestly try out meditation, try out journaling, gratitude journaling, or just what you said, getting up in the morning and checking in with yourself, like asking yourself, where am I right now? Like, in this present moment, how am I feeling? And then dive deeper into those feelings, right? So if you wake up and you're not feeling it, you're not in a good mood, you're not feeling excited for the day, you are stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're sad, check in and say, where are these feelings coming from? And like, what can I do with this to try to move forward and try to work towards a solution? Because we could spend our entire lives staying stuck inside of our problems, because I can tell you, I have done it for years. I would get up every day before my feet hit the ground. I was like, today's going to be terrible. This sucks. Everything sucks. I hate what I'm doing. I hate, being in school right now. I hate having to work these jobs I don't like. I hate this. And it was just like a shit firestorm of everything I didn't like and all this negativity. So, and when you start to do that and you gain that self-awareness, you're able to see it. And that was the thing, you guys, I couldn't even see it for the longest time. I couldn't even see, this is what I'm doing to myself. So I think I agree with you so much. That is the number one, thing that I haven't been taught in school. I don't know if anyone else is, and that's amazing. Like, if you've had that experience, wow. Like, I wish that was really a lesson that we can get into, but oh my God. So just so important.
I also think finding what works for you, right? Meditation might not work. Like, there are some people who don't connect with that, or journaling. Maybe it's take a bath. Sometimes I love to take a bath in silence, literally in silence, with no podcasts on, with no music on. And I just sit with myself, because when we really sit with ourselves and we get to know ourselves, then it can really move us to a place where we're confident with ourselves. We know who we are because we spend time with ourselves. We're not go, go, go. And I think the second piece of this is also, when you get to sit with yourself, you get to know yourself, let's not judge ourselves for what we find, right? Maybe we wake up in the morning and we feel sad, just like life is good, but we just feel a little bit more sad today. Let's not judge ourselves for that, right? Respect ourselves, respect the emotions that we feel. When we spend time we get to know ourselves and we get to love ourselves through all the different things that we feel, because there's a lot
Oh
of
my
things that we
gosh.
feel all the time, every day.
I love that. I love that point you just brought up of not judging yourself for feeling whatever you're feeling, right? And like
Yes.
being able to like see that, process that, because that really brings me to this other point that I really loved last time we got into, is unlearning harmful habits. So
Mm.
I'd love to hear from you, like, like it talk about like in the past, like has there been things that you've done that were harmful or hurtful that were habits in your life, and what did you do to gain awareness of that and unlearn those habits and start
Mm.
to add in better ones?
Yes, I love this idea. I know we talked on the phone for so long about this, but we are a product of our past experiences, right? Good and bad. Like those things shape what we do, how we feel, just everything. They are literally everything for us. So, unlearning harmful habits. For me personally, I will say that self talk, huge. I wasn't the most confident person in the whole wide world, right? I think self-esteem and confidence are something that can be built over time. I'm still not the most confident person, but I'm a hell of a lot stronger in myself and who I am than I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, right? I'm a work in progress, but I can recognize that I am so much more confident in who I am. And for me, that goes back to self-talk. And I am huge on self talk. And it's as simple as when you wake up in the morning or you're going to bed at night and you look in the mirror and, like, what do you say about yourself? Or you do something wrong at work and you call yourself stupid and dumb. But the things that we say about ourselves matter because they begin to shape our belief system. And that then begins to shape our emotions, the things that we feel, and then also how we behave. So thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected. And our beliefs are something that is right in the middle of that. So for me, self talk was something that really needed to change. And this is a hard one because if we are self aware, we begin to notice all the things that we say to ourselves that are so freaking rude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh yeah.
the things I say about myself, I would never say to you or about you, right? To our friends. We don't talk that way, like, oh, I'm so freaking stupid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't say that to other people, but we say it to ourselves. So, again, I think this goes back to being aware of how we talk to ourselves. And for me, that started with slowing down, getting present. I think getting present is huge in this. And once I could slow down and begin to be a little bit more present with myself, then I could actually notice and hear when I am tearing myself down. And
Wow.
how to combat that then begins to, for every rude thing, right? Or mean thing, something I would tear myself down, I would try to combat that with a good thought. I'm huge on mantras and affirmations. I have a
Oh.
whiteboard in my kitchen that
I love
have,
your whiteboard.
yes,
I love it.
every week I write a new one up there. And I have one for the month as well. But it doesn't have to be just that. It can be as simple as I am important, right? I screwed up at work. I feel really crappy about that. But you know what? I'm still a dang good employee. I still work hard. I am important. Like, those things matter. How we talk to ourselves matter. And the more we have these positive self-talk statements, the quieter the negative things get. The easier we can begin to tune out that voice that talks to us and tears us down, and the more we can build ourselves up. But it takes practice and it
Oh
takes
wow.
conscious, intentional effort to do it.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree with you more on that, because that is actually like everything you said right there is the experience that I had. So I used to be like that as well, and I love how you give that example of, with other people, right? You would never look at someone and say, "Oh my God, you're like a fucking idiot," but we do that with ourselves, right? And that's the craziest thing for me, is like noticing that. And then also another thing that's pretty wild to me is, like people you might not even know, right? Like strangers, right? Who are, messaging on the internet and are like, oh my gosh, but like, I love what you're doing and you look great in this photo. And then you yourself are looking at that same picture and going, I look terrible. I,
Notice
my,
all the
my
things
hair looks
wrong.
like shit. My face, blah, blah, blah. And we can go on and on and on. And we really like we can either beat up, like literally just beat the shit out of ourselves or build ourselves up. And I started to notice that I would do that so much, where I would just be like, and that really, what you said is huge, because the way that I would speak to myself ended up affecting the way that I thought about myself and the way that I would interact with other people. Right. So
Yes.
when you're around other people, and, I would even be weird when someone would give me a compliment, when someone would say, oh my God, I love your, your hair, your dress, your makeup, whatever. I would be like, really? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Because you
and
don't
that's,
believe it yourself. So it's
yes,
so hard to take
to
that
take
on.
that. And that's so true, because, when you really start, you guys, to choose your inner cheerleader over your inner critic, it's insane. Because I honestly, like, I think I've spent probably 2 years ago, I think, is when I actually really started working on this. And it took, 2 years until now to actually not have those thoughts. And when I do have them, I notice them, and I'm like, wow, like, you're saying that about yourself. And, and of course, that's what held me back for years in so many things. Because I would say, even thinking back to being in school and sitting there and, being someone who would get straight A's, right? I got an F on every single test in chemistry, every single test, out of all the 5 tests. I failed every test, and I got a C in the class. And I was sitting there and I'm like, because of this, I cannot go to medical school and I cannot be a psychiatrist because I'm not good at chemistry. And that's literally the story I wrote. And it became a reality. I didn't go to
Mm-hmm.
medical school. I didn't become a psychiatrist because I told myself, you are bad at this. You are. And I felt like my self-esteem in that area was so low that when I was trying to get better at this, I'm like, it made it so hard. So when you start to actually actively build yourself up and say, you know what, I love that example you gave about working, right? And being an employee
Mm-hmm.
and saying, oh my gosh, I messed up at this at work, but you're still a good employee. You're still a hard worker. You still always try to do the best thing. And that's what I love, is turning a negative into a positive, or just taking a lesson from it, right? Of course there's going to be moments where like terrible things happen, and it's not always going to be the easiest thing in the world to look at that and say, oh my God, this is great because of this. No, like,
Yes.
it's like that is not what is going to always happen. But if you can take a lesson away from something, or, learn something, or take something of value away from that to like move forward with in your life, it's incredible what it does to just your thought processing, like your confidence, your self-esteem, your ability to believe in yourself, instead of like thinking, I'll never be able to do this or do that because I'm not good at X, Y, and Z, or I'm not this, or I'm, and I hear it all the time. And just like, and even I'm probably sure you do too, like in conversations with people, you know, or talk about something and someone will be like, well, I'm not that person, or I'm not good at this, or,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this. And it's like, so for me, like, that was always the easiest thing. Like, oh, I can recognize other people's stuff to help them, but why can't I do it with myself? Why is it so hard for me to recognize my limiting beliefs and to combat that? But I can do it with this person over here and help them over here, but I can't do it with me. So, oh my gosh, I think that's, and you know what, you guys, another thing that I really love right now about Ashley is she is the queen of the morning routine. You guys, she is literally like, you need to check her out on Instagram. I'm gonna link it below so you can check out her Instagram and like see this, because this is another big thing that we got into, was morning routine. So I would love if you could walk us through, what does your typical morning routine look like, and why do you think it's so important to have one?
Oh, morning routines like is literally my everything. It sets me up to have a kick-ass day. And if you're not a morning person, I guarantee you, if you come up with one thing that you can do every single day when you get out of bed, you will begin to notice a change throughout your day. I guarantee you. So my morning routine that sets me up for success, productivity, efficiency, and just to have a good day is coffee. I'm a coffee person. I put it every single day on my story. And the reason I do that is to show people that the habits we create begin to become our narrative. They begin to tell a story. So every single day when I wake up and I get out of bed, I go to my Nespresso machine, which I freaking love, and I make some coffee. It's the little things, right? So I make my coffee. And when I have my coffee in my hand, I then practice gratitude. because gratitude can 100% change a whole damn day around. And I set my intentions for the day. So, backstory to intentions, every single night before I go to bed, I look at my next day, right? So, tonight, what is today? I don't even know. Today's Thursday.
Yes.
Like, well, holy cow. Today's Thursday. Tonight, I will go ahead and look at my planner and I will see what my day looks like for my tomorrow. I think that that helps to relieve some stress and anxiety and helps you to just know what you have to tackle the next day. So I already know what I'm about to do for the day, but I set my intentions, meaning how do I want to show up today, right? We choose how we show up every single day. Do I want to show up as my most productive self? Do I need to slow down a little bit on the tasks and maybe prioritize my self-care today? How do I want to show up? Or maybe if it's a busier day, maybe my intentions look like, what do I need to get done, right? Some days we have those days where we just need to crank out shit, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
setting my intentions for the day and practicing gratitude is the second step as I sip my coffee. My third thing that I do is make my bed. I'm a huge believer in making my bed every single day. Not only does that help me to like walk by my bedroom and be like, oh, my room is clean, which makes me happy. But
Yes.
it also is the first task of the day. I accomplish the first thing. And if I do nothing else all day because I'm having a crappy day, I made my bed. I promise you, if you start to make your bed every day, it doesn't have to be the most perfect bed making. You don't have to tuck it all in, but just pull up your covers, right? Make your bed. You accomplished one thing, and it will also help you to be more productive during the day. The last thing that I do is my skincare routine. I'm a huge believer in one, taking care of myself, but also wiping away either my previous day or the sleep I had. Sometimes you had a crappy sleep, and I imagine washing my face and I am stepping into a new day. That's how I visualize my skincare
I
routine.
love that. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
and also just like another tidbit for people, if you like that idea, at night, if you had a really long day, get in the shower, use your favorite soap, and literally visualize washing off your crappy day. The mean things that people said to you at work, the bad conversation you had with your boyfriend or your mom, like wash it all off so you can step into your or go into your bed feeling a little bit more refreshed, like you're not carrying the crap that happened into bed, because that will also affect your sleep. So that was the side note.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh my, everything, you guys, this is why I love talking about this so much is morning routine is because, we're both so into this. And I can tell you, I used
Nerding
to
out.
not, yeah, I used to not be like this. And I can tell you the
Yeah,
difference right now between when I lived my life without a morning routine and and how I live my life now with one is
100%.
major because I used to wake up and instantly my mind would go to, and I would never plan my days. And now, like, I
Me
agree with
either.
you. I wouldn't, I would just, whatever, like every day. And I just would just go with it. Right. And that was, especially for someone who gets stressed out as easily as I used to, that was not good. So I would get up and I'm like, okay, so I have, work today, then school today, then this, and then I have to do, and then, oh, like I would look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I look like shit. I don't know how, like, and it just would, it was a spiraling ball of already starting your day on a really bad foot. So now what I do is very similar to what Ashley's talking about, right? So get up in the morning and gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I used to sit there. I used to be the kind of person who was like, what in the hell is writing in a journal or on a piece of paper going to do? What is that? Like, what is that going to do? And the reason I was like that is because I was struggled so much with being able to even recognize my blessings because I was so laser focused on my problems and on things in my past that hurt me or I felt were holding me back or I felt were barriers. That was literally my focus all the time, 24/7, 365, that made it so hard for me to take a piece of paper and a pen right now, write down 3 things you're grateful for. And I'm sitting there like, because it's like, what, it's like that is
Yeah.
crazy. And now, I'm sitting here right now looking at this little list I have in front of me. So I made this it's a gratitude list and I have like 50, I think there's 50, yeah, 56 things on here right now that I'm grateful for. And every single morning I get up and I do the free gratitude journal. I actually created a free gratitude journal. So I go in there and I do my entry and I say 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm looking forward to. And then like I get up and I start moving, right? I like to get all my stuff done, like, well, not all my stuff, but my workout, right? in the morning, so that way I'll feel more energized and ready to go. And sometimes I don't always make it happen, right? But I think the important thing to remember, like you said, is to take things slow as well when you are not in that headspace. So that's another huge one for me, is actually, being able to do that and, just have that morning routine, because, starting your day off on the right foot is huge, you guys. So I know if you don't do it, just try to do at least one thing that you have in the morning. And then you can get, and then you, and then you, hey, I can't, oh, wait.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. All right, I can edit that out. I can edit that out. Okay.
Holy cow. I
That
was
was
like,
no.
what
Do you know? Do you know what was funny is I kept talking and you were paused, and I was like, I saw you paused and I was like, maybe she'll move, and I was like, I'll just keep like going, and then I
I was
was like,
hoping I would come back, but
yeah,
I
and
didn't.
then I was doing okay, because I was like, yeah, like I was like the morning routine. I was like talking, and then I was like, okay, and then you left, and I was like, oh shit, and
It
then you came
literally
back.
just like went out, and I was like, oh my God.
And then you came back. Okay.
I'm so
Well,
sorry.
we are back. Well, I'll edit that out and fix that, because I was like, what happened?
She's
But
gone.
oh my gosh. But yeah, that honestly, that just brings me back to, the last question that I have for you, that I'm kind of sad that we're here at the last question, because I feel like I
know.
could just talk to you for ever, all day
Yep.
long. But this is something that I really want to have you answer for me right here. So what has been the most helpful thing you have either gained or experienced as a result of tapping into self-awareness?
Confidence, hands down. 100%, I would say confidence in myself. And I know that, excuse me, I know that I have talked about confidence related to self-awareness. When we get present with ourselves, we really get to know ourselves. But you begin to accept yourself on a different level when you become self-aware, because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. We don't. And we live in a society where we're go, go, go. What's next? What else do I have to cross off my to-do list? And when you get kids, it's even crazier. And so when we take time to be with ourselves, whatever that looks like for you, you become more confident in who you are. You begin to explore what you like, what you don't like, your values, right? And then you get to live a life according to those values. And I think that is how important self-awareness really is. So I want to encourage everybody to find something that you can do with yourself, not with your boyfriends, not with your husband, not with your girlfriends, not with your friends, but just with you. And if you don't know, what I want you to do right now is take out a piece of paper, and I want you to write down all the things you enjoy doing. If it's painting, write painting. If it's going to the beach, it's going to the beach. If it's sitting on a bench in a park, write that. I want you to write down a list of at least 10 things that you enjoy. And then I want you to try one today. Try one of those things. Right after you listen to this podcast, go into the park and sit on that bench with your dang self. It's time to appreciate yourself, get to know yourself, get curious about yourself. And once we can learn all the amazing and unique facets that we have within ourselves, then we can begin to truly love ourselves and accept ourselves for who we are. And then we can show up in the world being our whole damn self all the freaking time. And that is what makes me jacked up, apparently.
Oh my God. I love it. I love that. That is amazing. Yeah, you guys, oh my gosh, just finding one thing that you can do for you. And I think that's amazing, that self-awareness piece, and then bringing up confidence. And I agree with you too. Once you have that self-awareness, like, helps with feeling more confident, living a life that you authentically dreamed for yourself and always envision, and you're like, I can't, I wish I could be this, or I wish I could think this way, I wish I could feel this way. Once you start gaining and tapping into that self-awareness and starting to become more aware of you, right? And what do I like to do? What do I enjoy? What are my passions? What are my interests? What are my habits? What are my fears? What are my things that light me up inside? Just literally gaining this. And I think I love how you talk about getting out a piece of paper and a pen, because You know me, I'm very visual. I like to write things out. I love lists. I love being able to see it on paper because I feel like for me, at least, I don't know about you guys, but it helps me put it into action when I can actually
Yes.
see it in words in front of me because now it's real. Now it's here, it's out in the world, it's on that piece of paper. And what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do
Yes.
with that information? What are you going to do with this now? And I think that's amazing that you talk about for you is once you started to gain that self-awareness, tapping into that, being able to be more confident and actually lead to enjoying your life more, right? And overall enjoying living and just being here and being present, right? Because I feel like a lot of the times, like what you said, we really don't spend a lot of time with ourselves. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because it's like I live in my body, like I'm
Right?
me.
Like
Like,
I'm
what do you mean?
always with
Yeah,
me.
I'm always with me, but it's like we don't always. Well, I'm not, trying to speak for everybody, but at least for me in the past, I did not always check in with myself. Probably never did. I just was going and just doing whatever I was at the time. I did not really, look at my feelings, what I was thinking, what my emotions were. I kind of just would bottle them up, ignore them, push them away,
Stuff them
and stuff
down.
them down, try to just move on with yourself. But this is what I love about this episode right here is, you guys, we literally went over so many things that we are not taught in school, at least for both of us, that we weren't taught these things,
Yeah, if
right?
you guys were, let me know where y'all went to
Yes.
school so I can
Yes, tell us where this was because I want to send them a fruit basket or something. I don't know, but you guys, I love this episode and I'm sad that it's coming to an end, but you guys need to check Ashley out, a Splash of Ash podcast. And also, tell the people, where can they find more about you and all the things.
Yes. So my podcast, Splash of Ash, you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. My Instagram handle, I put up lots of tidbits, mental health and wellness tips, just cute pictures and fun things, right? My handle is at @_splash of ash. I have a website, which is splashofash.co. On there, you can find my blog, which also has mental health and wellness tips like loaded all on there. I have merch, but we are running low on stock. And because we got to be careful where we spend our money right now. I'm not restocking that right now, but I do have, I think, about 8 sweatshirts. They say it's change your everyday, change your life, which is my motto. I also have cute little stickers like logo, evil eye to, get the negative vibes out of here. And I also have a newsletter, which you can sign up for on my website or also on my Instagram account. I send out a Monday newsletter and it's more mental health and wellness tips and things that'll just brighten up your Monday for your week. That's where y'all can
Oh my
find me.
gosh. Yes, you guys, check her out. And oh my gosh, just such an awesome episode and just so many lessons we covered in this one. And I'm super excited to put this one out into the world. And I want to say thank you to you guys, of course, for making it and listening to this episode, tuning in. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day or a great rest of your night, depending on when you're tuning into this episode. So I'm going to say goodbye to you guys on that note. Bye, everybody. And also going to say goodbye to my beautiful guest right here, Ashley, Miss Ashley Parker on the podcast. Bye, Ashley.
Bye.